See, live and clear. It is Sunday. Hope that you're near. Hope you're having a good day. Hope everything is going good. Uh, so we talking about. See how everybody's doing today. Hope you're having a good day. Hope that that your conditions are good, live and in clear and in color. So let's hope that everybody come on through. I'm welcome for some questions. Get this question kicking. What's up? How you doing? What's up? How you doing? I got a question coming. Oh yeah, well, yeah, I did that video. I did that video. I just got through shooting that. I What had happened was I saw the link and I was like, okay, that's how we gonna do Garfield? Okay. So I had to do the old Garfield. Old Garfield. Yeah. He came live in color. He gave me good topics, so I'm glad that he wanted to immense himself with me. So I'm thankful for Garfield. That was a good one. Let me go put this thing out real quick. Don't move because I want to. Okay. No, because Danny Glover, once upon a time, he said that the industry um, is all about cosmetics. He said that he don't care nothing about no, it's just all cosmetics. I remember he did this interview, it was some years ago, and they asked him about how they were, and he said it's all cosmetics. So he spoke out about it. So, but I did in my video, as you noticed, I said, well, don't they come for Jonathan Majors like that? I want, and the Kyrie, it's all connected. I don't want nobody talking about, well, it's just the act. And I said, no, if you speak out on something, it's mighty funny. You know, Kyrie did not say anything against anybody per se. Madu Raul didn't. They got took out. Jonathan Majors didn't. So it's interesting. How you doing today? What's up? What's up? What's up? So we got what's got what's up? What's up? I see I got more people hopefully come through. If I get good viewership today, I'll be on for 2 hours because I got to watch some football and eat and all that other stuff. But if I get a steady crowd, keep hitting them likes. Let's do it. Of course he did, and plus, he was in the color purple. He wasn't seen, getting a leading man, and it ain't just about dark skin. Light skin went through it too because if you know the Hollywood game with black exploitation, which they say, which saved Hollywood, they weren't giving brothers a lot of leading roles, but they were doing theater and plays and stuff, bits and pieces. But it was a double standard. It still is. Still is actually, because once the rappers kicked in, that was a politic in itself. But it still is. Hasn't really changed much. You think I'm lying? Ask yourself, how come Chadwick Boseman was portraying every black male figure you can imagine? The same thing went for Angela Bassett, female. I mean, they do the same thing. When I was a kid, that was the case with LeVar Burton, and then Denzel to an extent. And Cecily Tyson went through it in the 70s. You watch this situation unfold enough, you start to see recurring themes over and over and over again. Before you ask me about, you might say, well, Michael B. Jordan does it. Well, how many times he gonna play Creed? He gonna have like Creed 80? Action, action adventurous. That's what's up with that. So it's different. Yeah, it's different in that regard. But they still typecast. That ain't changed in the film game. So yeah. If Jay Will comes through, I'm wearing my Yankee cap because I'm very excited about last night. So no, I'm not taking it off. If it's good luck charm, Giancarlo did his thing. Much respect. But anyway, let's get some questions. Hope people coming through. I'm glad to see. We're gonna see what the Sunday afternoon, early days like. Yes, I was very excited. Can't you tell? But I did tip my cap to Cleveland. They're a good team. But I did give you a shout out in this sense. If they had an Albert Bell or a Manny Ramirez or a Kenny Lofton or a Jim Tomei, that might have been a different series because they were just about that much from a pop from making a different series. They just didn't have the right bat. I know. I might not take this hat off. I know. I'm feeling good too. Um, they won close games. It was very close. And that's what they'll have to do against the Dodgers because they'll have to figure out a way to slow them down if they play them in the World Series. If they play the Mets, it's very similar to Cleveland. But if they play the Dodgers, they got to figure out how to high ball, low ball. And all these people here talking about, well, you bought everything. No, the Dodgers are stacked. The Yankees ain't stacked. Stanton has been 5 years in the waiting for that to come through. Aaron Judge is doing his thing, getting Soto, but they're not matching the Dodgers as far as talent go. Oh yeah, and by the way, I got to do a college. Well, Gene Carlo can make that case too. But Soto, yeah, if you're going by his Washington Nationals, but not quite getting the same love. He's not quite getting the same love. He's not. I appreciate you picking it up. He's not getting the same love though. But he was here in Washington. Think I forgot when he was young and won that ring. People don't talk about that World. That was a crazy World Series with them in Houston. That was a crazy World Series because nobody at home won the game, and they had what you call crazy blowouts. By the way, I probably got to do one more video. I got to do about college football. That's crazy because Alabama got two losses. Ohio State got that loss. Colorado's got the 5 wins. There's some craziness in college football. Texas got smashed yesterday. So what's that gonna mean for the polling? Michigan sucks, like I told you. I told you we're gonna be that good. I'd be the first to tell you. So I gotta do something about college football. That's gonna be my video after I sign off today with this. I only got one vote so far for the little Richard thing, but I got through doing a video with that. We're gonna find out. But yeah, Soto came up big, and Gene Carlo was big time. Before this, I was like on the Vince Carter, T Mac, Paul George tip with him, but now he came up with that AL MVP. It's giving me Jalen Brown type vibes. He's got something to prove. So let's see. Dang. Okay, where you go? Please come on back. Questions, questions, questions. If I got people coming through, feel free to chime in. I just saw that the Jacksonville Jaguars are over the Patriots 25-16. So they've outscored them 25-6 because it was 10-0 once upon a time. Somebody got to win that game. Okay. Come on back, Jim Brown. Yeah, well, the difference is that Jalen don't got that chip though, and in Jalen's case, people were questioning his ranking. They can't question no more because Jalen is arguably a top 10 player. He came up big, couldn't get no Olympic tryout though. Oh yeah, but two different ways though. Jalen won. See, this is a good question too with Jalen. He won at a big level and he couldn't even get to the Olympics. Think about it. He was the Eastern Conference Finals MVP and the Finals MVP, and he couldn't get no love. So it just goes to show, which we talk about all the time. You don't say what they want you to say; they got no use for you, even if you win. And he won big, and all he could do is get a token gesture on some shows with the Finals MVP. Couldn't even get to the Olympics. They wouldn't even let his passport go through the docks. Yeah, we know about what Cap. Cap's situation is completely different because that was the behind the scenes controllers, the narrative. His got they got held in the same but different way. Okay, do elaborate. I know about the game. He got some rightful criticism, but what else happened with Jerry? He didn't really have a rough week because if he had a real rough week, their season would be over. Don't let Dak Prescott get hurt. Oh, that was embarrassing. But you see, that's par for the course. That's par for the course, though. That's par for the course. You know how he is. He been so busy running his mouth, he don't have nothing to. I'm doing a live stream right now, Cam. We live taking questions, talking about various topics. Some of it sports related. I got a poll question about Little Richard. So anybody want to chime in? You got something? What you up to? I'm welcoming guests and people and making the most of it. I've been here the whole weekend this weekend. If I get enough people come through with support and everything, I can do this more often this weekend for sure. Well, this is. I hope you're trolling. Okay, 3 a.m. Where are you coming from, Cam? Gunter, I, uh, well, it's because you do know what you're doing, and I can't condone that, Gunter. And I know about the South and all that, but that's not really my jurisdiction. You might be on to keep that underneath the keep that where you don't get to. Oh, okay, mate, you in Australia? Okay, okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. I keep forgetting about that time difference. That's a super differential. I heard about that. You think I should do a video about it? I don't know if I want to do a video about that because it's too easy to pick on Bronny. I did do the magic one. Uh, uh, it's round as far as I know, and I don't believe in no flat stuff. Cause Australia, ask Cam about that. You said yes to me doing Booker about. Let me see. The Earth is round. I can fight. I mean, I'm not a boxer, not like that, but I can fight though. Well, I remember. You remember Jalen? Remember Jalen called him, said he can't play. Cats know he can't play. America's falling because they don't love one another. They don't take care of the environment. They don't take care of the people. That's why. That's simple as that. Oh yeah, I do. We talking about Diddy, whatever you want to talk about. Yeah, of course I do. I grew up watching heavyweight fights, middleweight. No, no free Diddy because you getting problems now. You got that right, Ted. He. It's like trying to put your daddy's clothes on. The shoes is too big, the coat is too big, and you're trying to impersonate somebody, and it's not coming off convincing. He's got a lot to learn. We can sit here and talk about hoops, which we do, but there are certain fundamental things you got to do. Okay. Trump has supported him. Trump has supported Harvey Weinstein. I'm waiting for Trump to come out and support R. Kelly and Suge Knight. That's only a matter of time. But you know, I heard about Tim Tebow. Well, if you fight long enough and you take some punches, sad to say, some things can happen. And boxing is a very up to the moment where some guy comes along and it can happen. Sad but true. Yeah, well, Trump, no. I try not to talk about him too much if I can. I have to watch how I say things because this YouTube situation, there's been some Trumpism, some stuff, but I'm not surprised. Let's just say that. I'm not surprised. Well, Roy Jones Jr., I used to watch that all the time on HBO with Jim Lampley. He was the only fighter I ever saw that could have an earpiece in his ear and say, yeah, I'm going to hit him with a right. Watch this, Jim. Bam. Tyson Holyfield, Riddick Bowe, Prince Nassim, Lennox Lewis, Frank Bruno. There were so many cats that I watched in the night. That was probably the last year of '90s before the Klitschko brothers took over. The '90s was the last one I kind of cared about Razor Ruddock for a moment. There was a few cats. George Foreman's comeback against Michael Moore was 30 years ago. That knockout tripped me out because he said, if I don't knock him out, I'm going to lose this fight. Him being like 68, being a heavyweight champion was crazy. It's crazy. Yeah, I watched a lot of boxing in the '90s. But middleweight fight became the one because the middleweights uh, was the late '80s, turning '90s. Hitman Hearns got robbed. Manny Pacquiao, all that pack. A lot of stuff that you end up seeing coming later. Uh, Julio Cesar Chavez, Sweet Pea Whitaker. Yeah, yeah, all that hit. So I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about. Appreciate everybody hitting up the likes and stuff. There's more people coming through today. Conversations. I'm welcoming it. Thank you. Thank you. Maybe Sunday around this time is the time to come through. I like that. But yeah, all that boxing was great. That was probably the last of it. '90s is my last era of pop culture, and for real, when I have conversations about music, especially boxing, I'd say to an extent TV shows. I'd say yeah, quite a few, man. Quite a few. Quite a few. Because boxing, you gotta remember something. It's about being a brute, but it's not about having common sense. When I say that, I'm not trying to diss them, but you gotta remember who's running the game. They're getting hustled one way or the other. You get Bob Abram hustle you the other side, or you get Don King to hustle you. You're not considered the smartest tool in the box. So, did you hear about Leon Spanks? His story was kind of Diddy-ish. Yeah, it depends on who you're talking about. There's a lot. If you go by this, because it's street, but when we go into business, it gets a little bit more complex. If you understand what I'm saying. See, they catch the cats that's the most street. And in some ways, boxing is a lot like rapping, like hip hop. It start off with more street, and then it compartmentalizes into something else because once you understand about enterprise and you start to have conglomerates, you know, they start to commercialize you. They have their favorites too. You gotta remember it is a business. Cats start off a certain way and then, you know, if they get commercialization, they get commercialized. Most I would say growing up seemed to be real. I mean, there were some exceptions. They had political agendas. So it all depends on who we're talking about. Mhm. But make no mistake about it, it is a business though. And if you forget that, you be in for get your feelings hurt. 71% saying yes to Little Richard. That's took off really good. I like that. I like that Little Richard was coming through. 9 likes so far. Appreciate that. Numbers looking good. Glad everybody coming through. Let's get to topics, whatever we want to talk about. I saw some stuff on here that I had to kind of like look at. I certain things I am not going to touch. That's it. Um, hard to say. Who you like? Who do you like? Cause I mean, again, I'm. You know what? Maybe question mark. That's a question mark. That would be scary. That would be because if you remember what they were doing the first 2 weeks, he made Derek Carr look. They look scary. Surprised they didn't try to trade him when that whole thing went down in Vegas, though. Surprisingly, he didn't get traded then. Um, Kansas City gonna get him a big fish though. Somebody gonna go there. If I'm AK, he ain't gonna go to Dallas though. It would be the AFC. Is that Method Man? Are you trying to say Method Man? Because I ain't never been called Method Man. But if you're talking about the rapper, who's your Heisman Trophy candidate so far, Ted? Let me know who you liking. Is it Method Man? I know one thing, numbers are looking great so far today. I'm glad to see more. I think I'm going to have to use this time for a different, see more people come through. Yeah, I know who he is. I've never had that said before, and I'm clean shaved, so thank you. Method be acting right now. Method clean. Yeah, what's the question? What's happening? How you doing? I think Hunter gonna get a lot of attention from Colorado, especially if they win that next game. They got 5 wins, so if they get to six. They bowl eligible. If they win 6 games and they get at least the fruit of the loom bowl, he'll definitely be a top 3 candidate. I agree. That's what it'll take. They got to get the wins. Once they get the 6 win, Hunter will definitely get in for candidacy. That's what worked against them last year because their defense is better. He'll definitely move up the ranks. What is your question, Ellen? If I come out like Method Man said, I got flavor in your ear. Ah, let's see what we got. 75% saying yes for Little Richard. That is a hot topic. I likes that. I likes that. I likes that. Waiting on the question, so let's do it. I don't know about Crosby to Lions or Bills would work. Well, yeah, probably go to Lions. I think the Lions need one more piece to solidify. How's it a trap game? We ain't that good. Trap game. We're 4-2, and we're not seen as Kansas City. We didn't beat Houston. So how's a trap game? At best, we're probably the third best team in the AFC. But being the third best in the AFC, you may as well be the fifth best. You follow me? Because no one would bias against Cincinnati. So how's a trap game? Oh yeah, and don't forget about Baltimore. Baltimore spanked and waxed our behind. So what? So we're fourth best team in the AFC. So how's a trap game? I'm not dissing. I'm just making a point. Trap game is when you're like the elite, and then you have a sucker game. We haven't done anything to show that we're elite. We're elite by default because our division is crap, and he might. He's the kind of player like Pacheco. He's the kind of player. No, they won't do that. They won't do that. That's not their problem. That's not their problem. Their problem is on the offensive line. Their problem is on the defense. It's not the running game or the receivers. Their problem is fundamentals, getting out the gates. That's their problem. Only if that was the case for Kamara to go into Cincy. Thank you for all the people that are coming through the views. Now come on in here. Feel free to post questions, hit the likes, hit the polls. If you want to donate, feel free. I welcome it all. Let's enjoy this Sunday together. If you got questions, come on, bring it. I welcome it. Glad to have people coming through on a Sunday. Glad you decided to come to the channel. Hope you're having a good Sunday. Hope the weather is good in your town. Hope that you're having a good feast, good start to your work week, or however you're doing. They got a good coach. They got a good, fresh young quarterback. They got good receivers. Right? They are going to be a problem. They're going to be the next version of Kansas City, at least for a year or two, I think. And maybe he might even get to where Lamar couldn't. There's something unique about CJ Strauss that I'm seeing because if they get poised and can figure it out early, they won't have to wait 50 years to get deep. They did get to the second round last year. That's what I'm saying. I'm watching them. Keep your eye on them. And plus, they play in that old soft division. So if they beat up Indy, you got to worry about Jacksonville, and you got, but they do have to worry about Flacco. He could be a problem down the line, but I think they're well coached. They could be a problem. They might be. I don't know. So they could be a problem. Okay. Let's get some more questions going. Keep it going. Keep it going. Don't be shy now. We live in color. So my Joe Flacco story is this. September, October, he's one of the greatest regular season quarterbacks ever. November, December, you want to bench him. January, February, he's one of the most intriguing postseason players ever. You see how I did that? If we get to play skip around the room with him, it's just those 2 months where he starts to fall off. And he does have that tendency. But for September, October, and then he gets in the late December, and then he gets rolling January, February, he can be scary. But he has that in between where you want to bench him. Just saying. So, okay. What's happening? How you doing? Good to see you in here. Thank you for coming through. Appreciate you. I got Kansas City. I the 49ers need it, but it's hard to bet against Mahomes. I mean, he found a way to win. And they haven't even played good on offense. They've been doing bop and weave. It's like they're kind of going through the motion. He's scary. 5-0, ain't really played his best ball yet. And they halfway home. I mean, they scary. Yeah, you know, I hold him in high regard. He's the best quarterback I've ever seen. I'm not even holding back. He's complete. They win. They got a defense now. They might. They need to. They need to because Brock Purdy and Kyle Shanahan need to show they can win a regular season game against a top tier team. Don't choke. Don't gag, and finish. If they don't, and they can't hold leads, so you're very nice for the 49ers for being a Green Bay Packer fan. You really hate Patrick Mahomes of Kansas City. I mean, if I'm the 49ers, I want to win this game because I never seem to beat them in the Super Bowl, which only kind of happens to mean everything. So that's all. Can you beat them? Let me see. I got another question just got hit. What do you think about some people pointing out making the narrative? Only thing I say to that is this: three Super Bowls, three Super Bowl MVPs, two regular season MVPs. Gonna have almost all the history books. So if they say he can't read cover two, uh, th- would he even need to bother when you have his track record 3-1 in the Super Bowls? I mean, who has stopped him? They're entitled, but they're not entitled to anything modern because you gotta go back to the Steve Young era. The last time they could make some situation, they've lost three straight Super Bowls close. The man camps out in January. Make it make sense. He camps out in January. Dak Prescott gets on the stage in January to receive an NFL Man of the Year award. That's the only time he's ever that deep. And Patrick Mahomes is time of the year. If you camp out playing in all these straight, no, that's Tiger Woods level. That's that kind of rare dominance. That's his orbit. That's his orbit. That's why you can't be taking these polls serious about who's the greatest player of the 21st century, and I can't put that man in your top five because you're on a if you're gonna put him in totality, you got to put him with Tiger Woods, Serena Williams dominance, and it's dominance. He could retire tomorrow. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer. He could retire tomorrow. Their dynasty. 4 trips in the last 5 years, 3 chips, and if he three-peats, that's goat. That's goat because no one's done what he's done, and it is dynasty. Who else is coming? Who else? You got to go back to New England to that run, but even New England's run didn't seem like this. This is a different run than New England's. This is different. Yeah, it's different. It hits different because he's not like any quarterback you've ever seen. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And in the era where you've had the Lamar Jackson's a two-time MVP, let's not forget, you had a for a window Deshaun Watson, a Josh Allen, that Prescott getting hyped. That's how, and he still got two league MVPs. I mean, come on now, I can't make this up. Well, they not gonna sit him too long because I'm sure Kirk Cousins will do Kirk Cousins things. He got people fooled for a minute, and then when he starts bubbling and fumbling, Kirk does enough to get a new contract. I'll give Kirk his due. He's smart. Michael Phoenix is gonna be nice. I mean, but they gotta be prepared though. They gotta be prepared. Kirk Cousins gonna do Kirk Cousins things before long. Oh, I'm not listening to nobody talk down playing Mahomes is that Mahomes is like Tiger Woods, but with a Steph Curry dominant flair. I mean, you're watching history. People are scared of history. Yeah, that's all. That's all. Yeah, he will go back eventually. Yeah, I mean, when you look at Mahomes' career, you can't think of too many people that's seeing that. Thank you. Thank you. It's Tiger Woods type situation. Serena Williams type. There's only a handful of people can make that kind of boast. And in the modern era, yeah, you got to go to other sports. That's insane. Mahomes is insane with it. We're not even talking about the postseason wins, regular season wins. We're not talking about all the division titles they got. Come on now. Yeah, Jordan didn't start off his first seven like that though. But yeah, it's like Russell and Bird. That's true. Russell's dominance. Larry Bird had the three MVPs first because he played 12 years. So yeah, that's a good call. Five finals. But even this is on another level because it's more Russell than it's Bird because he's winning. That's the thing. And he's in an era where the competition is It's more Russell. Jordan didn't do that to his first take about his ninth year before he started winning. He got the league MVP and the defensive player of the year, but Russell was winning chips. Bird was too. So that's the only thing about the Jordan thing. Jordan's thing when he hit his ninth year. He hit seventh year deep. Gretzky, yeah, yeah. Or Joe Montana-ish, but more dominant. Easily, 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 easily. And a good call about the Bird Russell thing because they did. Or if you want to say Magic Johnson, if you want to get in that, because Magic played 13 years, the 12 before he retired, and 9 finals appearances in 12 and did all that. So anybody you want to mention, because you got to put the right context. Thank you. But it's still different because you ain't seen a quarterback doing it and doing it his and in the style he does it and the come from behind. Because you got to mention Montana, but it's just a different hit. He is a it's totally different. I ain't seen nobody like him. So the people can title it how they want, but I ain't seen nothing like him. He's 101. He's truly a 101. And he's setting such a standard because it's him and everybody else. Everybody in the rearview mirror right now. Now I do say Lamar and Josh Allen are kind of like you can say like the Phil Nicholson, VJ Singh type of situation, but he's Tiger Woods all the way. And you remember when Tiger Woods was dominating? He was so far ahead of the curve it wasn't even funny. I was hoping the Bills would either get him or Lamar Jackson before Josh Allen because I'm not gonna lie, I saw him in college. I knew he was the truth. I was really impressed with him and Lamar. But you never think of a guy gonna come into the level. I wanted him, but I didn't think he was gonna be like that great. And yeah, which just goes to show you that you never he's clutch. See, all he checks all the boxes. That's what the great ones do. There's nothing that's too difficult. Yeah, Deshaun was bad in college, but Debo Sweeney called him the Michael Jordan of quarterbacks. I remember that. And his first couple years, well, aside from throwing those picks, he was nice because they remember they were up on Kansas City in the AFC Championship game. That's the last time we done seen D Watt. D Watt been on a milk carton ever since then. He played out of his mind for a small window, and the guy hasn't been seen since. Yeah, it seems like more longer than that. Seems longer than that. And they were up, and then Mahomes came back. That's the last time he was that dude. So just saying, it's a small world after all. You don't, and if you don't hit, you don't last. So let's take a look at this poll. 78% says yes to Little Richard. All right, I figure that's gonna be consistent. Yep. Well, that's because it goes to show you that the power, the magnitude that you know, and that's what greatness does. I mean, you remember that game like yesterday, and what has happened since that game? God and went to 4 Super Bowls, won 3 out of 4. Deshaun Watson can't even might not even win four might even win 4 games in a season. Let that sink in as I talk to you in 2024 since that time. Since that time. Because he was out for 2 years. Cleveland stinks. And I don't even know if he gonna get 4 touchdown passes, let alone win 4 games. I mean, it's really that he ain't been the same since. So, but you can tell me I'm wrong and call me crazy. I'm just calling it like I see it. Yeah, I remember it like yesterday, and I thought that was going to be the battle of AFC because at the time Josh Allen was not really into the sync. He hadn't really hit it. He hadn't hit his mark. Lamar was like I called him like James Brown. Like it was like a lot of funk and groove, and it seemed sound light and but it worked. But I didn't see that. But I thought pretty much D Watt is turning to Diddy Watson. Diddy Watson. That's what he pretty much minus all the oils and stuff. But it's Diddy. It's Diddy Watson. Yep, you got that right. It's um. Sometimes I don't know because sometimes the audio comes in and out. I'm gonna try to talk louder. Let me know if you can hear me. Can you hear me? Give me a one if it's any better. Sometimes the mic be low. My mic's not low. It's just that the reception pickup. But give me a one if you can hear me all right. Okay, cool. Sometime it is, sometime it ain't. So, but yeah, he just not happening no more. That's all. It's just sad. It's like it's taking its toll on his game. Yeah, I don't quite understand it. Okay. Yeah, I don't understand that. I don't touch that. Stuff look nasty. I don't even know till you mention it. I think it's don't they do that at Starbucks on a candle or something? That if you go to Yankee Candles or something, it smell kind of funny. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I've seen it though. I know exactly what you're talking about too. It's not in my mix, but what's up? How you doing? How you doing? Glad you came through this Sunday. If only if you put some Cool Whip on it. If you put some what, vanilla ice cream with some Haagen, some nuts or something on it, and mix it in, or you beat it up with some whip. You know, like you beating up batter like you making hot pancakes. Yeah, if you batter it up, you got to give it some flavor. I want to say, what was that pie? I used to like it at Costco. Pumpkin, what was it? Yeah, you got to bat it up. You got to beat it up. That's the only way. Like if you get like one of them old Cool Whip bowls and you put the pie slice, you just whipping the whip on it and you put some strawberries on it. Yeah, you got to funk it up. But just to eat it dry and plain, we don't do that. I don't do that. That thing don't hit right. It's got to have some whip. Yeah, there you go, sweet. Now they were doing that at Costco when I was eating that. Oh yeah, and I put the whip on that thing. You be like making faces. You be floating. Pumpkin pie don't really. Sweet potato, yeah. And they look at you strange about sweet potato. So, you ever watch Comedy Hype? George Wallace got some videos on there, and he was talking about what black folk eating different things. He was talking about some of the food. Actually, it just came out. I was it came on my stream last night, and it's true. There's certain foods that are still different. Believe it or not, people think that because if you're in the states or wherever you are, that everybody eats the same. They don't. It's like night and day. There's certain foods. Yup, your mama made it right. Oh God, whoa. I remember my grandma used to make it like in a had the there was the pan and you would put it in the foil on Sunday. Oh God, that thing. I think sometimes they put it with raisins or marshmallows or something. Oh, orange juice. Yeah, yeah. You do sweet potato pie with some orange juice. Bat that. But it's a diabetic party. Can't eat like that. Don't do like that. Don't sue me and come after me. Uh, don't come after me now. If you eat that Patti LaBelle pie at Walmart, you'll get sick because she does it, but it's just too gooey and sugary. there's a way you can do it at home with a pinch of OJ. It's off the chain. Sprinkle that thing light. That orange brings that flavor up. It whips. Thanks a lot, Ted. I'm got like food channel going on here. I'm about to put like a food channel segment in here. But that's true though. Thank you for that though. You take me back though. Hmm. You hit that butter, put some brown sugar in it, whip that thing. That thing float. It float. That thing gets smooth. I remember when I used to eat like that. And that sweet potato pie really be hitting though, especially when it's fresh and warm. Yeah, we sure do. And we thinking a lot because it's see that's I need that. I need that. I need that. I need that. That's that take me back because I got memories and there's a lot of on the live streams. I talk about a lot of stuff that I don't talk about in the general videos because generally speaking, people ain't gonna want to click and view it unless you got a dish ready or you're gonna do a food segment. But when we do the streams, I can definitely talk about that stuff because this stuff is what down home folk food, comfort food, TV watching food, multitasking food, and you just get your fork and that thing just goes. Yeah, that's the stuff that people don't even begin to even understand. And the thing about the yams though is that I did it with marshmallows, raisins, juice, made that thing layered. And so yeah, because it's because it's too easy. It's kind of simple. It's like, well, why is it so simple? I'm like, you don't get it. It's that's how it's supposed to be. It's just hits. And then when someone wants some apple pie and they won't put no whip on, I said, you gotta put some on it too. You gotta make that thing whip. What old plain basic stuff. I find a lot of folk just don't want no seasoning, no flavor. That's the problem. Yeah, I'm amazed with that too. It's not the same. It really is different. It cracks me up. It's true. Unless you get them down home in the South. You get folks that's been accustomed to stuff in the South, they eat like they can relate. But East Coast, Midwest, unless they didn't have some culture, they ain't gonna relate to what you're saying. It's not the same. It don't hit the same. You get your feelings hurt trying to explain it. If y'all just coming in now, who's ever out there looking and whatnot, we talking about food right now. So if you want to get in and talk about some food, some dishes, feel free. You know, if you're vegetarian, vegan, this can work for you too. You know, so it's all flexible. It's all part of how you. Cause I do talk about all kinds of, cause talk about different foods, textures. It's like being a chemist. You can compartmentalize this. You can be a scientist to it. Yeah, you can. Because food is addictive, and sometimes there's certain foods that they put at you to. Mm. We're not gonna have any sauce today. We're not gonna be high in cholesterol. We're not gonna go there. I'm sure he eats everything, black eyed peas and all that. He's from the South, and I'm gonna give him that. I doubt very serious that Tim Scott's gonna like. I want Brussels sprouts, and I want give me clam chowder. I think he put some flavor in his food. I think he do. I think he do. But actually, folks like to eat, unless of course he just you know banana in the tailpipe. I'm not, the cat likes to eat. But then again, he could be real bougie and like I like that wine to be vintage. Ernest and Julio Gallo, and you never know. Because people are built on cliches. You know, and it's always like somebody is defending something that they don't really even. They just have because it's fashionable to say. I try not to go into that at all. I mean, if I like you, I like you. Yeah, and that is problematic because a lot of times, look, you can like somebody. That don't mean that you down with it. You know, because I mean that takes a whole lot of because they co-sign a career. Like it's what's going on with $1 Million Baby though the song the cat that got that out. I'm not even thinking his name right now, but he said he want to do it hip hop, and then they got upset about Post Malone. You know, stop acting like because someone does something that's hip and happening that they gonna be down with you. Stop getting hoodwinked. People getting hoodwinked too quick, buying and biting because they want to be accepted. That's what that is. That's got nothing, because you getting this, this false adulation that you are accepted. They didn't say that you're accepted. They like what you're doing for the moment. That don't mean that they cool with you. More than him. I mean, that's got some of these cats out here saying it about Trump. I mean, think about it. And then some of the cats that were like that about John Gotti. I can name a lot of names, okay? You want to go there, we can go there. Because you're going to see a commonality, common thread. And yeah. Well, come on now. Do you ever watch Michael Francesi? Francesi, I watch his show a lot, and check him out on Mobster Stories, and I watch Francesi. He ain't really gone into it, but Sammy the Bull and them, I watch all that. Well, I grew up on the original East Coast, so I got not just watching the movies and stuff, but also within the culture. I got ingrained on it. But let me tell you a story, right? A lot of them cats, because you lived up in New York, Jersey, right? It was okay. They liked him because he was a mover and a shaker underground. That whole thing. That's why these rappers take those names. Yeah. Well, I'm gonna address them in just a second. But if you go to Jersey, New York, they legally have segregated sections, and they had the sections where people were prone to go. Gotti didn't. They don't mind making money in the hood. They just don't want you coming. They not gonna have you kicking it. See, like when you see the racial elements in Goodfellas, or you seen it in other mobster movies, that was real. They didn't. They did bit. They didn't want you coming to the table. Like remember Kareem in The Sopranos? Remember that? That's real. That's real. Yeah. But see the yeah. And I got a story for you too. One of my relatives, it's on my father's side. When I was a kid, he came. I was in Houston at the time. He came to visit my other grandmother's house. I think my other grandma was kind of digging him. He was a good looking dude. He looked like Billy D. Williams' brother. He had long hair. Anyway, and he was a cool brother, military dude, natural hair, super fly, real cool, clean, everything. Right. He was on the run because he was involved with an Italian girl who was connected, and they didn't like the association. My grandmother, my other grandmother on my father's side was like, he couldn't even give out his address. So imagine seeing this in real life. So I saw this up close and personal as a kid. This is real. So no, they don't mind doing business with you to an extent. Business. If you watch Frank Lucas and Nicky Barnes and all that, and you saw how it was with the businesses, that fills it in. But it was a different level, and it was a quote unquote separate but equal, different way of doing business. Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, a lot of them do that. Jane Elliott was trying to be philosophical, and then she got called out point blank about reparations, and then she got cold feet, and she got exposed, and she thawed out, and that was the end of that. And Rappaport, because he was down with a tribe called Quest. Oh yeah, I saw a Q-Tip on some show on ABC about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. He's acting all rock starish now. He was swinging his dreads or something, but yeah, you know. But a lot of these cats grew up together too. That's the thing that people don't understand. But they allow them to kind of be hang-ons. So, but yeah, it's real. It's real. It's real. And people don't want to admit it. 80% says yes to Little Richard. Okay, I like that. I like that. Keep on coming with the questions. If you out here, feel free to come on. We talking about everything. We didn't gotten. We talking about uh, mafia and industry and dating and food. Yeah, and he's been exposed. But you know what? And every time I talk about him, I've lost a couple of supporters because I've said what I said. But I don't bite my tongue, as you know. There is no flippity flop with me. If I don't be feeling, the only time if an artist moves me, I've been moved where I had a second thought about somebody because they got better with something that they did. Because I'm going to be the first to admit, I wasn't always crazy about Bruno Mars, but he grew on me because his music got better. And I like what he was doing as a songwriter and a musician. So I did. And plus, he's genuine what he do. He just having a commercial appeal. But he spoke the truth about the culture. Eminem, I know, then said stuff. And I know that if it wasn't for association, he wouldn't get half the situation juice he's got. I know. Okay, so Phil Jackson, right? Because people look at him as this granola hippie out in Montana, and all that. He because of the way he carried himself, that hippie thing, that's what it was. They got that, the Jackson 5 because all the rings and all that. He talked a language that was straightforward. And he talked in lingo because he was high, but he identified with certain people. And you can make the case that him and Ryman are kind of alike in terms of psychological, philosophical, why they blended and worked so well. But he also had an ego to understand superstars too, which was an uncanny ability to tap into the depth of greatness. But him and LeBron, that was another story about what he said, where he put it out there. And I did take exception. He said the term posse, which because you could have a feeling about, but what he said about Iverson and the clothing. But I never was like that big on Phil like that. I thought he was, I think a great coach. In that top echelon. Yeah, yeah. We call him the hippie version of Michael Eric Dyson. That's what we'll call him. Phil Eric Dyson Jackson. Yeah, we'll call him. Even though he used words, but he wasn't trying to necessarily challenge your what I call environmental intellect. He was challenging your situational intellect. He was actually like what Lawrence Fishburne's character was in Higher Learning. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, one thing about on this network, if you come here on this podcast or whatever you call it show, I can get deep. I like to get deep on here because I don't do that like I said, and I don't water down when I do my videos, but they're done in a time confinement. It's a different frame. live, we talk about different topics. So we get into like, I'm gonna look at it in a way where you mention how he appears, and then you ask me about the Zen. How much of it is the drugs? How much of it is how he feels and the texture, contextual? Because he give people books, philosophical. Whereas Pat Riley would beat you like he was talking in a corporate boardroom. He wanted you to be fit, fresh and fitty, mentally sharp, head to toe, and he treats you like a boxer, but yet he wanted you to have a Fifth Avenue mindset to style and profile. So it was done in a different manner. Phil's manner is to get you intellectualized, to stimulate you, to relax you, but to also keep you on your toes and to send subtle messages and not so subtle. He always had a way of kind of channeling your ego. Riley wanted to pump your ego. So they had different ways that they enforced what they did. They got to do that though. Why did they get to do that? Because they were what you call at best average white basketball players who were bench warmers, and they were like in the seventh to tenth slot on the bench, and they got to see things compartmentalized. But they were the best students. They got a chance to absorb and sponge it. They got to learn the game in ways, and they got privilege. That takes nothing away from their success because they're two of the greatest head coaches ever. However, do I think if the shoe on the other foot, you know, because you got to ask yourself, the shoe on the other foot would say, could a cat gotten the same thing? I don't think so. So that's and no one talks about that either. No one talks about that. So, but anyway, that's my thoughts and takes on that. Though that's a good question. That's a good topic though. He sure did. He sure did.
Okay, I found this on the web for he sure did. Check it out.
Um, who you talking about though? Who you talking about? Because I need to know a name, and then I can say yes or no. You give me a name, I'll tell you if they had to or not. So if you say somebody like ML Carr, I would give you that. And he ended up being a head coach, and him and that towel waving came and went. Yeah, I had to hear about. Well, yeah, that's a good one. That's still embarrassing to this day that he's still employed with Jenny Buzz. How he must got like some Diddy tapes or something on him. I don't even know how he still he stunk as at least as a player. He may have had a rebound or made a free throw or a dunk. He's horrible as a coach. Oof. I mean, he's him and Derek Fisher two of the worst head coaches ever, and he's even worse than D Fisher. He still keeps getting. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I got a theory, but yeah, and and she's all hugged up on LeBron last year, and I'm like, and it's just like I don't. I'm just stumped. I'm stumped. Because it was a joke. When he's with the Lakers, I remember it. I remember Magic threw that pass to him, and it's like I can understand Mitch Kupchak, who was a good player, got hooked up, but the Kurt Rambis thing was like, that'd be like Mark Matson right now getting a job. Probably true. Probably true. Because Kurt got hooked up though, so I don't know, but I don't know. It's some crazy stuff be going on in that business though. So crazy industry, crazy business. I don't know how much he just despise him because he's making money off of him. So I don't know. I know one thing: Kurt Rambis is in better situations with the Lakers than Magic is. I know that. Who got ran out of LA? Who still got a company seat? So that's the question you have to ask yourself. That's the sad hardcore facts too. All right, now come on now, get people. Let's see what we working with. He didn't turn on him. He never was there for him. You gotta remember he was Kobe's agent. They don't owe Magic nothing. Magic was Dr. Buss's, situation. They don't owe him nothing. And he ain't and let me put to you like this. He was an employer as a player who was great, and he might be the greatest Laker ever. But they tried to give him a little token coaching job. That stunk. They not really. First of all, if they turned on Jerry West, they turn on anybody. And we know how this goes. We know how this goes. Ask yourself who was more important to the Lakers, Magic or Jerry West in the totality. So that's all I'm gonna say about that. Not by me, she wasn't. And her mama didn't want her to go. I saw that video on Wendy Williams' show when Wendy Williams asked her, said, "You getting back with Diddy?" And she kind of was blushing and like, "Nah, I don't think so." Her mom was like, "So," but she used the N word. She got with Herb Gotti and I'm Real with Ja Rule, and then playing baseball in the streets with Nas, and yeah, she used it for street cred, working with L Cool J and all that. Took that Rich Harrison groove, Louis Vuitton from Anne Marie. Took that from her. Hmm. Ghost singers, Shantae Moore, ghost singing, Ashante, ghost singing her songs. Yeah, I never invited her. I think she attracted a woman, back in the day and all that. But that's all she got going for her. She has no talent. She can't sing. She's a okay dancer. Her moves are right. Marginal actress. She does two types of roles as a film as an actress. So but you know how they go. 85% says yes for Little Richard. A good poll. This is a good poll. Good poll. Appreciate the people supporting everything. Definitely. If I get this thing back, because this thing is not coming up where it need to be. What we got right here? Okay, so Bill Clinton. Yeah, he used enough code words and everything. But the funny thing is, he got read on the carpet by Sister Soldier, but no one, they quired Sister Soldier up. But asking about his 94 crime bill and the welfare and all that. But Sister Soldier had called him out. Yeah, she called him out in 92. Mm-hmm. It's because he's playing Rockin' Shades and playing sax on Arsenio. And I heard how he got down. She was or never was for me. Now, I know about the old Living Color days and also the South Central TV show. If you ever seen that with her and Lawrence Tate, It's some episodes that on YouTube when she was young, before she, way before the J Lo, before Round Living Color, and before she did Runaway Train, when she looked like, you know, mhm, I never felt Timber fake at all. I didn't feel it, and he that whole thing what Brittany said about genuine and what he did, I believe her because I think that he was trying to be down by any means, and he used whatever it took, but he's not. It's not authentic. And Fat Joe, yeah, he think he got a right, and I think he's just an industry spy. That's what I feel about him. He all happens to always be where everything is going. He just happens to be always, yeah. Yeah, these cats is needs to stop. They. But Fat Joe did like Luther. I mean, musically, that's just I have a problem with him that he could say the N word. I think Pun was an authentic cat. I think he was an authentic cat. I'm not saying I'm invited, but I thought he was authentic. Big boy having a good time. I thought he was, because he approached it a little bit different than Fat Joe did. A lot of Fat Joe's situations I'm calling cap on a lot. I liked I like Big Pun. Personally, seemed like he was a decent cat. You know, 1385 says Little Richard, so yeah, it's going good. Sometimes I just look at the language of the read the room. You got to read the room. We definitely blowing up today, and I appreciate everybody coming through. More votes, more views, more visitors. I might have to do the Sunday afternoon thing. This is definitely happening. And then you viewers that are viewing, if you want to chime in, feel free. Tell me where you're coming from. If you want to donate, you want to hit membership, subscribes, whatever, feel free. That's not big news, Ted. But tell me, Trevor Lawrence went off, and they played this game in England, didn't they? I think they played in London. Yeah, I mean, somebody had to win that game. Somebody had to win. No, it's not good for me to see because I don't want. I want to see. You know what? It's sad that they don't have a quarterback. It's sad that Jared Mayo is not going to get a fair chance. It's sad that they set him up for failure by not getting offensive pieces. Their defense is okay in spurts, but it's no. I mean, but the only thing good about it is you'll see who the real Patriot fans are from the fraudulent ones. That's all. That's the only good thing about it. But no, I don't like anybody down. I want to beat them at their best. I don't like the first ball. You want people to be on their toes. You don't want nobody to be staggering, but they're not even that good. I know. And then we gotta go through with Patrick Mahomes. I know. But see, this is the thing, right? I wanted to beat them Belichick and beat them up with that. I don't want to beat them with the third version of them because it's not the fair. It's not. It just don't hit the same. But I know how these things go in these leagues. Teams can tend to be whacked for 30 years. Well, you see, your division is good. You got a real man's division. You probably got the best division in football. Because any of those teams, except for Chicago right now, I got to see Caleb Williams get battle tested. But three of your teams could be, if Minnesota's for real, you might have three Super Bowl contenders. I can't say that for no other division in the NFL, especially in the NFC. We got to see what happens with Frisco. I don't know about the NFC East, but that's a fact. And we don't even talk about the NFC South, so somebody got to win it by default. But yeah, your division is real. No, I mean, that was tough to watch them win and Brady gone, but at the same time, it makes you want to beat them. That's the sad part about your division. That's the sad part because uh, Green Bay's legit. They could be a problem. Um, Minnesota looking really good. Detroit looks like the best team. Sleeper teams in the AFC. Yeah, it comes down to the Colts. That's a sleeper team. If Joey Flacco or they got Jonathan Taylor and they can stay consistent, that's a sleeper team. That's the sleeper. No one, no one sees them coming, especially they can get on the road. Because I told you, Flacco gets on the road and they get in the playoffs. And his track record, he's the AFC version of Eli Manning, except he has a little bit regular season, a little bit. That's the one. If Denver had a quarterback, I'd say watch out because their defense is going to be tough, and Sean Payton has got them playing a little bit better. That's the only thing reason why I can't go full. But they are ones you, yeah, yeah. So the Colts and the Broncos, I would say, if there's a such thing. And I know people gonna say, well, "What about the Jets?" Now they need Curtis Martin to come back out of retirement with Devontae Adams and some Brian Cox. They need something. They're missing some pieces. I'm not sold on them. It's a work in progress. This is the down year. That's why he's probably having a fire sale. He has to revamp the team. He knows they're not good enough to compete. They're gonna be good enough to be average. He'll take the lumps this year. He might can see if he gets a 4 year window. He says, "I'll take my lumps this year. Next year, I think we can be wild card worthy, and then we move up." That's his mindset. He has to be a realist. He has to just take out everything that they've been taught and revamp. So I think that that's what he probably gonna do. You gotta retrain Justin Herbert. They're just gotta recompartmentalize because they just have not. They had a team that had talent, but it didn't work. So he's pretty much like, I just gotta, you know. But they're gonna give him about 3 or 4 year window. It's gonna take about 2 or 3 years, I think, before they starts to kick in the gear. This year definitely is a work in progress. They're probably gonna do that because the old model didn't work, and they're not gonna listen to a rookie head coach coming in telling them what to do. Cat's been in 5, 6 years. They're not trying to hear that. Now Herbert's got to listen. He been inconsistent. He been hurt. But everybody else, if you're expendable, you got to go. So that's a good call. Please keep on continue hit the likes. I see we got more viewers in here. And if you got questions, come on in. If you want to hit the poll, come on in. Let's do it. It's definitely a good Sunday. So if you feel compelled, show off your knowledge and your wealth. We welcome it. Let's see. That's not the worst take, and I'll tell you why. He's shooting a nice three ball. He can play defense. He's versatile. He's like a bigger version of Tracy McGrady in a way. Could he have that type of situation? If he gets the three ball down, he can get to 30, 35 points. It's crazy, but then is it really crazy when you watch the offensive aptitude? Because when you watch Joel Embiid score, Jokic score, even Giannis flirting with averaging 30 points a game, it's not so far fetched to think that a guy might have that because he can defend on the ball. He is a top tier defender, scoring points, rebounds. It's I don't rule it out. I don't think it's the craziest thing you'll ever see. I don't think it's two because 35, 36, 37 points. Because James Harden was in that neighborhood. Kobe was in the neighborhood. And my point is, if you're big and you can score and you can shoot free throws and he can defend and the other things, and it's not the worst thing he said. Because Wemby does look better already than he did last year. I see him in a couple of motions this year, so not the worst thing he said. Because in the future, yeah, he gets seasoned about 4 or 5 years from now, and he starts to figure out some things, and he can dominate. We'll see though. That's not too bad. That's you know because guys are scoring more points these days. So Wimby said he was gonna have a Wilt Chamberlain 50 and 20. What's up? Glad you're on board. Welcome aboard. Let's do it. Yeah, we knew that. We knew that, Ted. And I got to ask that question about it. And Tomlin is trying to work out the kinks. He's trying to see what he's got. He ain't sold on, but that's not their problem. They need receivers. They need playmakers. That's what they're missing. Glad you on board, Will. I knew he was gonna start this week. That don't mean Justin Fields ain't gonna come back though. Don't get excited. Thank you for the likes. We now have to 11. I appreciate. I like seeing double figures in the polls too. So this is all good. So keep on coming. If you got questions, keep on coming. 86% says yes to Little Richard. That one is not a surprise or a shocker. Let's see what we got. Fantastic. 14 votes. Appreciate people coming through. It's a great day. Okay, well, you got any questions? Feel free to ask. And welcome and welcome. Oh yeah, I told you they wow, jumping off of tables and everything. I would say yeah. I would say yeah. They do. I told you it's real. Bills Mafia ain't no joke. I would say yeah. I'd say Bird, Dr. J. I can make a strong case for Elgin Baylor too. I'd say yeah. Because when I put his ABA career, Katie, I gotta give Dr. J because he was a leader. KD's a better pure score. But then again, I don't know because if you include Dr. J's ABA and NBA scoring, he's pushing 30,000 points without a 3 point line. That's my counter argument. So how great is KD to Dr. J if we take the 3 point line out? Now, KD's a better pure scorer and all that. The Lakers didn't employ him. I had to do some research on that, but I don't think they really were. Jack Kent Cook was not the most progressive minded person. If you watch that HBO Max Lakers one that they took off the air, there was that exchange with Jack Kent Cook at the table when Magic wanted the burger. Look that one up. Jack Kent Cook was not the most, so. But yeah, if you're going to answer that question about Katie and Dr. J, it's a lot closer than you think because there wasn't a 3 point line. They did have a 3 point line at ABA, but it wasn't front and central like it became. And Dr. J was attacking. It was a little bit different. And he was a defensive player too. So no, um, that's like asking me why Michael Jordan was with Charlotte and not with the Bulls. You go where you're wanted. Like Dwayne Wade with Utah, not the Heat. You go where you're wanted. Does that make sense? Larry Bird to the Pacers, even though a hit from French Lick, but still, go where you're wanted. I know where you're coming from the mindset that because you spent time and you did all that. Yeah, Phil wanted more authorization. Phil wanted more control, and they fell out. And I do believe Dr. Buss brought back Jerry West because that's why Phil wasn't asked to come back. And they brought in Dan Tony because they wanted a certain style. But yeah, they fell out, Jerry West and Phil, because Phil's very, alpha dominant. So that's another thing, but that's a personal situation, though. That's a personal detail situation. He thought it was a conflict of interest. And plus, at the time, Phil was still married, too. But that's another story. Jeannie came part of the deal. Yeah, because initially they have you report to West as far as the players and personnel and so on and so forth. And so when Phil took over, he 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 trimmed the fat. They got Nick Van Exel, Eddie Jones. A lot of moves was done. It was a different ball game. That's done on purpose because there wasn't a lot to see with their dynamics. It was cut low for a reason. I bet you if AC Green was to transition, you'd see a big old AC Green patch than you would Jerry West. I'm just saying, it was real. Only from racial perspective, not from the, she always had a thing for certain players. And that was also part of the business deal, too, because they wanted Rodman to come to the Lakers. He did, and he didn't last long. No, because Kobe was interested in younger and he had it was a different thing. It wasn't the mix like that. It wasn't in the mix like that. She did enough to make Kobe envious. Well, if I put a $4 million house on your finger, you can wiggle however you want. I ain't never forgot that press conference, and I know if you're a Laker fan, you didn't either. Because my homeboy said, "Well, what you think?" I said, "What you think I'm thinking?" He talk about, "Oh, I didn't do this, baby. I didn't do this," and I'm like, he put a $4 million. I said, he put a $4 million house payment on her finger. We could see that ring. Stevie Wonder could see that ring. So she had a free to flirt and do whatever she wanted. I don't know what she messed with. I don't know, but I know she was for them streets though. She knew what she was doing. Of course they did, because you know the story, right? They were gonna get divorced twice. The first time was that year when that whole thing went down in Colorado because he had called her out because she had gained weight and he wasn't feeling no more after the babies came out and he was about ready to split. That's why they were headed towards that then. And then the other time was the 2010, 2011. And they had talked about separate properties, but then it became cheaper to keep her. They had issues with her, not the age, but the that was the main focal point. People didn't even care back then. She'd be on the sidelines with the hat on like this, and we knew it was her. Everybody knew, but no one said nothing. Again, yeah, well, because you got to be a rich paid cat. You know how it goes. I ain't got to say no more about it. You got to have the bag. Yeah, yeah. And so, because all the stuff they went through, yeah. So, there's a lot of stuff that goes on. That's what I mean, Jay, Will, when I say the shade. That's what that means. So, it was real. And so, that's what happened. Hmm. That was part of it. And you know, oh, yeah, come on now. If Mark Madsen had Kobe's game, yeah, sure, let the whole family stay. They both sides had issues, but money makes you look at things differently. Both sides had issues, though. He had to have the bag to make that thing work. His money wasn't funny, so that's what's up. But you remember they probably went through a lot when they went to Italy, and yeah. But I'm saying if Kobe looked like Mark Madsen and Mark Madsen had Kobe's game and all that, no one would say nothing. I can't tell a grown woman what to do. You would think common sense would heal wounds, considering all that has happened the last few years. But you know, people be carrying grudges, y'all. People carry some mad long-term grudges. Don't forget, be hostile. You know, so it be real out here in these streets. They both suffer the big time losses. So people gotta understand life ain't that long, and you sitting around using money or lifestyle. So glad to see more people in the views. Come on through if you got something to say. Come on in. Polls are coming up, everything like that. So glad to see the likes and everything. So glad more people coming through, just taking a peek at the moment. How? He was 83 years old. He hadn't been well for a minute. I didn't really say I knew anything about him, but I knew that he wasn't well. And he was in his 80s. I mean, you people live a long time today, but he hadn't been doing too well. And he probably felt like he had lived 3 or 4 different lifetimes considering how things had happened to him. So, are you more shocked about him passing or OJ? Which one are you more shocked about, him or OJ? I think the Pete Rose thing is because he didn't get to the Hall of Fame. And see, OJ wasn't well either. So, well, I'll tell you like this. I saw him with Case and Mace, Cameron and Mace. His memory was sharp. He hip, but he saw what they did. They got Kareem had an issue with it. Also respected him. I don't think he really went into him about it, but Kareem spoke out against it. Oscar Robertson came out and said that the marketing of him was bigger than his actual game. He didn't diss him as a player, but he said that he was bigger. Oscar Robertson said that. I've done a lot of research on things like this. I'm glad that you bring that up because if you come here and you ask certain things, I tend to, like I said, I don't always put things out in videos or comments. How do I feel about what? How do I feel about what? I feel personally about what? You talking about the question about the shoe sales over civil rights? Is that your question? Is that the question? Um, he has been involved in recent years. Okay, let me answer that in just a second, Ted. Let me answer Jay Will first. He's been more involved. I think that he was what it was, and it's no defense for him, but it's the facts. David Stern used him as the first black model solo without a magic bird tie and all that. So they said that you couldn't. So the imagery in the product, he understood what he was going to do and not do. He had said things that he had went through, but he didn't elaborate nothing because he wanted to be marketed a certain way. And some cats choose that, And he turned a lot of people off. And I do wish he had spoke out on certain things that he took, because he do them hot dog commercials and batteries. So, but I think he's tried to get a little bit as time. They got the lawsuit against NASCAR now. I mean, against the not, he's coming. So it's gonna be interesting. But he was bought and paid for like they all are, though. He wanted to be crossover, and he understood the realm of what he was doing. Yes, you can. Yes, you can, Ted. I'm gonna tell you why. Because I seen some that have once they got the light bulb turned on, the switch turned on, they weren't wanted. They had to get a little bit hip. In some form of capacity, you're gonna get hit with the switch because you're gonna understand that you ain't never gonna get, they gonna let you know. Yeah, you can be reformed because you got no choice to go back home. Because eventually there's somewhere they're gonna let you know that you're not really wanted. I've seen people that, you know, they get their awakening and they get their roll call, and then it's like, okay, this ain't really what it's cracked up to be. You seen it happening right now with Cuba Gooding Jr., right? Because he got to explain Diddy away. And that video with him and that chick wasn't that deep. But somehow it got turned into something that it really wasn't. It's more extreme, but then they got him for other stuff. Some people saying because he played OJ in that movie, TV movie, they coming after him. You know. But I'm just saying, yeah. See. hmm Meanwhile, his brother, you see Omar. Omar be talking real talk. I watch his interviews. Yeah, he does. Because Jordan is dealing with the big wigs behind the scenes. That's what's up. Oh yeah, you always find out. But see, I'm gonna tell you like this. Let me say this. They know, but they act their way into acting like it's not really there. So for instance, let me just say it like this, right? Your mama said you're gonna get the switch. You know what a switch is, but you gotta act like in your mind that's a broken tree over there. That ain't really that. You know where it's at. They already know the game. They coax themselves into downplaying the game because they have to act like the money and what they throw at them is like, okay, yeah. They tell themselves the delusion. Sometimes they go in knowing what's up. Most will go in knowing what's up. Exactly. I am a firm believer that Tim Scott, some of these who be doing it right, oh, they know. They just go, oh, I didn't see. How many people look like you in that building? How many people like you calling the shots? How many people like you can bring in the conference room and put money on the table and say we're gonna do this? So unless you got Stevie Wonder glasses on, and make this make sense to me, Stevie Wonder can see better than you can with 20/20 vision or eyesight. Make it make sense. You know what you're dealing with. You choose to play defense, to play dumb. You choose to act like, oh no, oh, y'all Scooby Doo. Oh, yeah, that's what they do. They crack me up. Be on these shows talking about, I don't know about Ray, I'm not saying, and like I was watching Lord Jamar, and I do like him when he talks hip hop, right? But then he got on watching one of the shows, and he says, "Well, I'm a registered independent, and I'm going to use my rights for." And he, I'm like, okay, that's your choice, but you trying to sound all dignified with it. But that's not the same thing that you say in general context. Oh yeah, I'd be like, you know. I watch how these cats talk, the stuff that they do, and how it parlays. And I go by an old quote. I'm gonna use an old quote. It was from Miles Davis, because Miles Davis did an interview long ago, and he said black people are the greatest actors on the planet. You talking about Lord Jamar sounding snooty? You pick that up? Very New York, very New York, very like yeah, nah, yeah. Oh, I so these entertainers. That's what Malcolm was telling you about. That's exactly what he was telling you about. Cause he's like, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? He got all them puffy stories, all this stuff. Got all this conversation about, and I agree with him about Vlad, and I agree with him about, but then he starts talking that why he gonna, and he talked about Kamala and all that. I'm like, you know, so which you're entitled to your opinion, but then when you start to get uppity or you kind of make your point about what you got, then I'm like, oh, huh, you another one, and you bought and paid for, and he can't talk about. I forgot who he was talking about who had a SAG acting card. I'm like, you were on The Sopranos. You got shot in your butt on an episode of The Sopranos. Remember? Or you think I got amnesia? You think I got amnesia? You've been an actor. You know, you may not get the same caliber roles as Method Man gets, but you're an actor. You may not get the same pushes 50 Cent. I saw you on there on Piers Morgan. People act like I don't be seeing them. And I ain't got no problem with that. Just admit that you got your lifestyle and that you trying to add to your bag and you're doing your thing. Can't sit up here and act like you don't know what I'm talking about. Yep. Oh yeah. Then look at a lot of stuff that goes on. Just plays games because that's all it is one big old game. That's all it is. So it's a lot of ways to look at it. Mhm. And before anybody asks me about the poll question person, even though he was flamboyant and he was, I never felt Little Richard sold out. He played with everybody and sung with you, but he told you y'all ain't give me nothing. He said that the whole time. They let the facade and the imagery and the flamboyant, but if you read between the lines, he was serious. But Richard was serious. I never got the feeling that he was. They have the NBA. They're tax write off the NBA. That's why. Oh yeah, I told you that was one of my favorite channels. I thought about you when I was on there because they analyze really well. I like how they talk. That's one of the best team related that I've seen. I've seen other team related. Oh yeah, by the way, if you go to the Dallas Cowboy one, they cut them off. They cut them off. They cut off the comment section. The WNBA because the merch and the commercialism, but they have the WNBA. They are the tax write off. The Junior Whopper NBA. And you see my Tim Duncan and Parker comment. Remind me of what you said. Remind me, Jay Will, what you said. You talking about Tony Parker? The Dallas Cowboys, yeah. If you go see the Cowboys, probably cut them off. Probably did. They probably did. There's only a few teams I would be curious to see people's comments on. I'll never look up no Carolina Panther comments. I want to see the Patriot comments. The Jet comments are delusional. If you're interested, I'm like y'all tripping. They crack me up. They delusional. I won't waste my time with the Raider comments. But we can go through the NFL whose comments I would look and who I won't. Bills on Facebook is more. That's where it's lit. Like if you go on Facebook, build my like I'm on there sometime. That's the one you get the real. Not so much on the YouTube. The YouTube ones, but the ones on the Bills Mop. Like if you go to the direct, oh yeah, yeah. Depends on the team. I wouldn't waste my time with that because um, we all know Daniel Jones sucks and their coach is already over his mind. Oh, well maybe that's why Tony Parker's marriage to with Eva Longoria. I don't know. I don't really put a lot of stock in that. They just talk about their defense. What they talked about was their defense and Taylor. Sometimes the Swifty stuff, you know, and they, low key, low key. I want to look up Cleveland. I'd be curious about the Browns comment section. I'm really curious about that. Miami's trying to act like they got amnesia. I haven't looked up the Rams. 49ers get some interesting takes because oh yeah, they've been impressed with that rookie receiver, but they letting as you have it they be dissing Brock Purdy sometimes. I see a couple of things on there. I ain't wasting my time with Seattle. It's not worth it. The Bengals were. I saw a couple of things with them, but again, you did bring up a good point. Will they make a move make a move? That'll be interesting. Let me see. That's not gonna save them. Yeah, they making moves for what? For what? Why? Yeah, they got good comments. Why the Jets making moves? That's not their problem. They need a younger quarterback. How about that? And a real head coach. How about that? Don't lose to Pittsburgh and then you 2-5. You already lost to Buffalo and you still gotta go to Buffalo and get that second whipping, so that's not gonna save you. I mean, it's nice, but what the move's gonna do for you? You're not a good team. That's not gonna do nothing for you. I mean, I I ain't got no problem with Robert Sala being fired because Robert Sala wasn't that, you know. But yeah, okay, it's still early. Do you realize the Jets got to win 10 out of 12 games? You can be on that bandwagon. Ask Ted if he's on the bandwagon. Ask him if he's on the Jets bandwagon. See what he says. I don't know how they gonna beat us when they can't even. When they can't even. I mean, they. I mean, have you watched them? They can play close to teams, but their defense is a joke. They can't stop the run. They can't really stop the pass. Aaron Rodgers don't hit some haymakers, and he gets hit. He's every time he get hit, it's like that could be it. And he can't throw nothing in between the middle of the field. His is all down. They sure don't have enough. And when you say Rodgers and Adams in 2024, that means what? 7, 8 wins if you're lucky. This ain't 20. This ain't 2017, 18, 19, 20 when that meant 12 wins. That today is maybe 8 wins if you're lucky. That's eight if you're lucky. Okay. I was worried about this game against Tennessee, so that's why I'm gonna, you know. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Jay Will's a Cowboys fan. Cowboys fans got to jump on everybody's wagon. Yeah, he trying to do too much, but it don't mean nothing. It's still early. But if Tennessee can start rounding on them, then it could be a problem. The thing about Tennessee is this: if O'Boy was a decent quarterback, they could be a halfway average team. That's the problem with Tennessee. Bill's offense has not been good. That's been a problem. They got they've been tied up, and every game's a battle. That's the problem. That's why I'm not taking them serious. I told you, you can't play every game close to the vest. The reason why Kansas City is because everybody's playing Kansas City at their best. But you ain't won nothing, so you should be making a statement. Every game ain't meant to be close to the vest. Who the Packers playing today? Remind me. I haven't been on my sheet yet because I put it down. What you got? What you got? Green Bay gonna be good though. Oh, okay. Well, they're gonna be healthy and ready, so I think they'll be fine. Wow. Okay. If you don't make too many mistakes, that's the problem that that's the problem that why they lost some games. If they had have been playing those they lost that first game in Chicago, they should have won that game. They got about 2 good games they would have won, but just not being stupidity. And stupidity is just bad interceptions, turnovers. I told you that already. Von Miller, no Von Miller, they can't stop nothing in the gut. And I'm not gonna tell you no lie. When Derrick Henry hit that gut on him, he always does. They're not a championship caliber team. I'm not gonna lie about my teams. You know, you want somebody to lie about them to get it to somebody else. I'm not gonna be one to sit there and lie. Two things the things they don't do well. They don't stop the run, and they get beat in the secondary bad. Cause that intercept, that touchdown that Aaron Rodgers threw, that Hail Mary, that same thing happened against the Cardinals a few years ago. Where Kyler Murray beat them. They have not done anything to address just the fundamental stuff that they don't do. That's why I'm not taking them serious. They can prove me wrong. If they come up with their own version of Gene Carlo Staten, by all means, that's not a Super Bowl contender. That's a pretender. See, I'm gonna tell you something. If you're a contender, you can beat people different ways. Jets better not lose today. Because if they lose today, that's gonna be 3 games behind Buffalo. And Buffalo only gotta do is be average in that division. In case you don't know, 8 wins might get you that division over there. Because if Tua don't come back from Miami, they might not win but 4. New England ain't gonna win but like 2 or 3. I believe it's not him. It's the coach. It's not him. What did I say? My knock against him is that he has to be more precise, but understand the system. But it's the coach. I keep telling you, if you listen to me, I have my issue with Sean McDermott. I say he needs an ego-driven coach who understands how to coach ego. Remember what I always say about Phil Jackson, Pat Riley, Belichick, Bill Walsh. Yeah, you got to have a coach who knows how to challenge that. It's like when Andy Reid and Mahomes. It's the perfect marriage in storm. He does by me. I don't sugarcoat. I told you he plays hero ball too much. He's not a meathead. He has won 11, 12. He's been let me tell you why he's not a meathead. He's better than Robert Sala was. And he's covered different levels of the Bills in the postseason. Meathead McCarthy, though, has been a grinder whose style played out. And he had great opportunities with a top tier quarterback, and he's had another situation. It's just that he's a meathead because he's like in denial about where the team is at. Sean McDermott is just a guy who can coach, but it's like getting a coach that can only coach you so far. He doesn't have that next level. Mike got the ring, but he's still a meathead, and he overrated too, because he ain't doing nothing. And the reason why he's a meathead is because yeah, but who is his owner now? That's why you get the title of a meathead, because you don't think for you. Jerry Jones is running game. No one respects Meathead McCarthy. You know this. You got memories of him because he won for you. But Jerry Jones got him at a discount like a meat market. Okay, coach, what do you say? That's why he lost. He has lost this team. Now, I wouldn't want to be Meathead McCarthy. You getting 40 burgers served to you, you giving up 40 a game, average at home. Cats running all over you, running all down. Cameraman's the only one that can keep up with the secondary. What does all that mean, man? What he did in Green Bay, yeah. And I hate to say it, but why? Because you can take anybody as a quarterback for him and he gets results. Meathead then had Aaron Rodgers and Dak Prescott. Is Jimmy Garoppolo and Brock Purdy on the level of those two? Now Cam Newton can say game manager for Dak. Dak's considered a better quarterback than Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy got better talent. And most people will tell you that Brock Purdy is probably like the sixth best offensive force on that 49ers team. The last real coach the Cowboys had, to me, that I felt, that I felt representative of what they were doing. In a modern capacity, was Chan Galen. Chan Galen. As a matter of fact, yeah, he was clap on. Chan Galen was the guy that Jerry Jones says he was sharing the fire. Chan Galen came and coached the Buffalo Bills. Chan Galen was the last one. They were average, but he got the kind of results. Parcells was just a name only when he coached Dallas. They brought T.O. He wasn't feeling that. That wasn't him. His ego got the best of him in Dallas. They weren't that good. He wasn't that good in Dallas. He was the name brand. But Galen was the one that actually they were, where they were. But Parcells didn't do nothing there. Jason Garrett was average. And he got robbed out of that 2014 game because that was a catch. But he was just, yeah, they found Romo. But how far did he go? He never got to his full capacity. He was in that really to very good spectrum. He never got great. He did that for ego. And he wanted to one up check Belichick too. That was ego. That was about ego. He felt like he could do something with that. That's what that was about. I was in living near Seattle. I remember it very well because they played the Seahawks, and that was, you know, he never recovered from that. I was in Seattle at that time. Yep. And all he had to do was hang on to that. As a matter of fact, I think the next year they got the placeholder to come out. Yeah, he's one of those woulda, coulda, shouldas. Classic example. Should have been way better, bigger, way bigger. So I remember the shootout against the Broncos, the bad pick. One of those guys that was just always one step from being close to the dude, but two steps behind that dude. One step close to the dude, but two steps. The right foot was near, but the left foot was 2 feet back. And it never matriculated. And I tell you all the time, if you could put him and Prescott together, that'd be the baddest quarterback they ever had, even over Roger Staubach, if you could put those two heads together. Because if Romo had Prescott's poise and Prescott had Romo's, you know, kind of like freestyle, kind of like winging it sometimes, you'd have a dynamic situation. But that's why they got the results they got. That's one of them. You can say the Patriots in '08, he won better. As if I'm going to buy a regular season with Cunningham and all that, but the Patriots '08, he was 88% yes to Little Richard. That's great poll. Poll is going great. Nah, I don't put y'all now. Now. It's only one answer. I can't take them out because they were the only team I've seen in my lifetime was undefeated. They broke the scoring record. Randy Moss broke the touchdown records, and Tom Brady had the touchdown passes. How can I do that? No other team is seeing that team. You weren't better than the Patriots of '08, though. Sorry. You're talking about historical great. And when you ask me who's the best, it's got to be them. That's the only answer. Now, you can have other teams as 2 through 5 or 6, and you can debate. But when you ask me uno numero, it's always going to be the '08 Patriots, and then it's everybody else, and then we can debate 2 through 10. I'm with that, but you're not getting better than that Patriot team. They look like they broke records, yo, and they were waxing teams poetically. Brady to Moss was like, you remember what they did to Pittsburgh? Remember? Remember when Brady ran down the field at that cornerback and got in his face, said, "You suck," and you this and that, and hit that. And you remember that fourth down in Baltimore? Come on now. I remember all that. Um, is it a knock on him? That's a good question. I can't put it on a receiver. I can't put it on a receiver. The problem in the '08 one is he did catch the game winning touchdown. There was just that Eli Manning threw two of the luckiest passes I ever seen, and Samuel had that ball go through his hands. So the Patriots defense couldn't make a stop. Can't put that on him though. He balled in '08. He was great in '98, but in '08 he became legendary. In '98 he looked like a guy that you could say was one of the 7 or 8 greatest receivers ever. '08 you were saying top 2 to 3 ever. That's the difference. And if he won a ring, he did. He missed that kick. He was a poochie. And then that Atlanta team went to the Super Bowl, and Eugene Robinson was out clubbing and partying the night before, and then John Elway lit that butt up. I remember. But it's the '08. It's '08. It's '08. And it ain't even close. It's '08. Um, how is he better when he broke records in '08? And let me tell you something. His he was with the Raiders, and he was sleeping in the basement. He was great because I remember Dave Wanstead was dissing him. And he was dissing it was Eric Moles, but the Cowboys passed on Moss, and I still remember he did that toe tap and lit their butt up on that Thanksgiving Day, and they looked dejected. They skipped on him. Oh, he was great with Culpepper, yeah, and Randall Cunningham. Yeah, I give you that. Imagine if he'd have had Brady half his career, you know, because when they played together, they were everybody looked good with Brady. Even AB looked great with Brady. Antonio looked great with Brady. Brady just that's why he bad. That's why he's number two with me. And one of the greatest NFL players ever. Top. But I remember how guys were balling with him. I remember. Moss's footwork was like a ballet dancer. I'm telling you. And I ain't seen nobody with better foot coordination. He sure did. I remember that Thanksgiving game. I remember. Put them feet down. He ate y'all butt up. Tore y'all behind up. Y'all dumb enough to pass on him. That's what you get. And y'all ain't had a receiver that's been even within a country 2 miles of him because Dez Bryant, CeeDee Lamb, none of them cats could carry Randy Moss's Afro pick, and you know this. But I think that was old Dave once that somebody was getting off political. So I'm starting Aaron Donald. Bench John Randall and I'll cut Sap. It's tough to say, but that's how it's got to be. Because come on now, Aaron Donald was and I'm a big Sap fan. I'm probably a bigger fan of Sap of the three, but I ain't gonna lie. Aaron Donald was a freight, and John Randall didn't miss games. Well, of those three, because you're going to start Aaron Donald. Did you know how John Randall was like healthy all the time? I like Sapp the most of the three, but John Randall didn't miss no games. And to be honest with you, I'm starting Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald is better. Okay, come on now, Aaron Donald. Prime Aaron Donald. Because who he played with that was matching his intensity. Sapp had a great squad in Tampa Bay. They had a better defense. You're just trying to downplay Aaron Donald. That's okay. Aaron Donald was a freak, y'all. I like Sapp. Sapp. I might take Sapp over June Randall. Okay, I might do that. Bench. I'll bench Randall. I'll keep Sapp. But Sapp wasn't seeing Aaron Donald. Neither one of them was seeing Aaron Donald. That I'm gonna say. Because to be honest with you, I take Aaron Donald over both of them. I saw what he could do. He was a wrecking crew. And I like Sapp a whole lot. But they did have a squad in Tampa Bay. You can say that's one of the best defenses. I can't say the Rams had one of the best defenses ever, but I can say Aaron Donald was one of the baddest defensive players I saw. Underrated 90s team defenses NFL in the 90s? I'd probably say the Steelers. I only went to one Super Bowl, but their defense was scary. Oh, Natron Means. Come on now. I like riding Hampton in spurts, but Natron was a bad boy. And I don't think he gets his due because everything was about their quarterbacks. So I'm going to say Natron. Yeah. Might not be. Oh, that's a good one. I got to start Mean Joe. I got to bench Aaron Donald, and I got to cut Bob Lilly. And Lilly was a bad boy. Eric Moses was more underrated because Isaac Bruce was in the right situation, so that one's easy. Because Isaac Bruce was great, and Eric Moses didn't get the same luxury of playing with top tier situations per se, which showcased his wear. Isaac Bruce got that. That's a good one though, but it's going to be Moses. When you're in the two Super Bowls and you win, it's kind of hard to call you underrated, especially when you were front and center. But Eric Moses didn't get the same luxury. Anybody who remembers Eric Moses gets that from me, so right on to you, Ted. Because people don't give Moses his due. Appreciate all the people coming through too. I got quite a bit in here. Glad to see it too for Sunday. Yeah, been good. And if you're coming in, feel free to commentate because we're talking about a whole lot. Let's see. I think yeah, I can give you that. If you're asking me who was better, or you asking me who was more underrated, what's your question, Ted? If you're asking me who I thought was better, I'm gonna tell you Tim Brown. If you're asking me who was more underrated, I'm telling you Anquan. Because Anquan was built like Art Monk. He didn't get his due. Tim Brown got his due. Tim Brown was bad in college with Notre Dame, and he's bad with the Raiders. Anquan was underrated. Anquan, big strong, just didn't have the right situation. Tim Brown had a great situation with the Raiders. He was highlighted. So great white hype, and he was a cover man. He married that model too. Um, he was good. He was good. He could cover, but they got their behind blew out by the Ravens in the Super Bowl. So when I said good, but he wasn't great, because Trent Dilfer was they tore that behind up in that Super Bowl. He was good in spurts, but then in that Super Bowl, as Ted's talking about, he got exposed badly. He got exposed badly. So he wasn't no scrub or nothing, but he wasn't great. Oh, yeah, because remember old Bigot? Remember the old Bigot? You know what I'm talking about. For a while, yeah. Remember the old Bigot? No, Kerry Collins. Mm-hmm. Oh, he was a horrible one. He came to Carolina, came to the Giants. I was so glad. I was so glad that the Ravens tore his behind up. And he was ready. He was pick heavy that game. They dropped about 3 interceptions that game. Tore that butt up. I couldn't stand his beady eyed self. Yeah. Kerry Collins had quite the mouth. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why Seahorn got so much attention. Yep. Well, Keith Van Horn was okay. I mean, if you're cool with 17 points a game, he was decent. He wasn't hyped like Jason Seahorn, though. Not quite. One thing about white basketball players, usually they don't overdo it too much. They give them they do, but they don't. And if you do get hyped, you better win. That's nothing new. So I was around 30 years ago, as you know. And if you watch the Big Papa video, the bathroom scene and the guy that's dancing behind him, that wasn't nothing new. You want me to answer that, or you gonna quote me? Because if you want me to answer that, I will. He used a quote from a Richard Pryor skit. Richard Pryor had a skit, so they used that line. And LL Cool J had the video with the same person in it. It was known. It was known. And I don't know which way Biggie go. I don't know. Am I shocked or surprised? No. About none of them. Because one thing about with the culture and the hip hop is that anything goes. So it's not really exposing anything that wasn't there. Well, no, it wasn't meant for you to look at because the thing about it, Busta Rhymes is in that video too for Big Papa and getting dejected by the said person and making a face as he walks off. If you watch the Big Papa video, you can see Busta Rhymes looking dejected. It's the industry. It's no surprise. If you want to talk about that, and if we want to go live stream and talk about that, I can talk about that. Oh, I know what you're talking about. Because you see the machismo, you see the male, But this is the best question you may have asked of the yet. Underrated in two different capacities because Colston wasn't even seen because they were so busy touting a Reggie Bush. And Jimmy Smith played in Jacksonville. No one knows if you're in Jacksonville, nobody knows you. I'm going to say Colston because he had to prove that he was as good as he was. And he doesn't even get the same love and remembrance as Michael Turner did for New Orleans recently. Jimmy Smith did eventually get some love, but Marcus didn't get his due. No, he could be. He could be. I didn't have them as no heroes. I like their music, and I'm gonna tell you like this: I don't know these folks. You gotta understand something about the entertainment industries. They have beards. They have agencies. They have handlers. They have all this. They work as agencies. You only know what they spoon feed you through the media. You don't know who these people are. You can sit there and claim like, oh, you don't know. I remember the line because I grew up listening to Richard Pryor records. So when I heard it, it made you laugh. I had a former coworker who recited it as a joke one time, but he was on drugs and I looked at him sideways. But cats would, you know, and I knew how Diddy got down. And, you know, if you are into strange stuff and you smoke and drinking those stuff, you know, I'm just saying, people didn't care. People didn't care. The truth is, they don't care now. You think they care now? They're not gonna stop Biggie from being a Hall of Famer or playing his records. That's not gonna change that. This is a great question right here. Let me answer that. Um, Alfonso Roberto was limited because he was like, you know, he was kind of bougie. He had kind of a his. Let me go from imagery. He wasn't tall. He wasn't, you know, he was a dancer, Broadway theater actor, youngster. So he was cut a certain way. So he was kind of limited because that's all he was going to do. And Urkel, the Stefan thing, the problem is this. If you're too big on TV, especially if you're black and you're a comedian, you can't get out of that imagery. You can't get out of that imagery because people forever see you as a one trick, just like Jimmy Walker or Kid Dynamite or Gary Coleman, what you're talking about, and of course being the size he was. So you get tapped into imagery. Will Smith was fortunate that he got into the film game. A lot of these cats get trapped. And they big, but they can't get off that imagery. And they get seen as that little face that the people want to pinch. And then when they're like 25, still getting pinched like they 12, they don't evolve. They weren't that deep as actors. Let me just say that in English. McNair, yeah, you can make a case. You can make the case. McNair was talented, and because he got the team to a Super Bowl at that time, played Georgia stuff. He is kind of, yeah. No, you figure wrong because no, you're playing a TV role. And I'm gonna tell you this about black actors as opposed to white actors, right? Michael J. Fox was able to get into movies and play a smart aleck in his movies, right? Alfonso Roberto played a certain type of role similar to that. And you would think that moonwalking into Michael Jackson as a kid and all that, but he was a sidekick. And, you know, thank you, Ted. You don't have just because we talk okay, when Ted talks about bucking and we talk about that, right? You can do all that and skippity skip and grin and yes, advice and all that. You got to have something else because if you still, they're gonna keep you doing the same thing. Let me give you an example. Remember buckwheat, old alfalfa, our gang. He was getting roles on the Jeffersons and Good Times to get some money on the table in Sanford and Son because he was typecast. So you don't, if you get typed a certain way, you never get out of that. And when you're doing comedy, I have a buddy of mine. His son did some acting in Hollywood, and he got some word of advice. He said, "Don't do comedy," because he said that's what Keanu Reeves told. He said, "Don't do comedy, and don't get typecast, because if you do, you're not going to get out of that bubble they put you in." Now that was for back then, but today it doesn't matter. Today you do TV, you got Netflix, you got all that. But back then you were limited. You wanted to get to the big screen. That's where the money was. Jaleel White didn't have a lot of personality. He'd been around forever. He did commercials. He was on all episode of Jeffersons, but he didn't have no personality. He was kind of stiff, you know. And he was kind of. It was kind of like that Urkel character took off, but he didn't have a lot of depth to him. You gotta have something more than just being considered cute, no diddy, or safe. You gotta have something. If you don't, you just you made it, but you better hang on to your money and get them residual checks because they're not feeling you. I did a lot of reading, and I grew up watching stuff. And thank you, I appreciate the comment. When I do my live streams, this is what comes out because it doesn't come out in videos because people don't really want to. But yeah, I remember the stuff because I watched TV growing up, and I remember how you get typecast. Cats always wanted to be more versatile. They wanted to be more deep. They wanted to have more depth. They didn't want to be a one trick pony. Because I saw too many cases of people that didn't. Well, he said some suspect stuff, which would make you think he was hanging at a Diddy party. And he just was corny. The Stefan thing was cool, the babyface thing, but what's her name that was the co-star that she spazzed? I can't think of her name right now. But um, he was kind of uppity, stiff. He's kind of uppity. I picked up on that. I think he did an interview some years ago. He was hanging out at Prince's house or something, and he's one of those cats that was a Hollywood kid. Jalea White. Uh, he it wasn't he played a role, geeky nerdy, which it didn't translate. I'll get to that in just a second. It didn't translate to a Nick Cannon level career. So ask yourself, is he as good an actor as Nick Cannon? And he don't have no depth. He just doesn't have anything there. Lemon, I respect his hustle. I don't know about respect his hustle. I do. Him as a journalist is he bought and paid for. You know, but he keeps a bag. He keeps a bag. He's able to keep a hustle going. You know, but they asking me, do I look at him as a quality journalist and all that? No, no. But he better than anything they put on CNN since he's departed. I'll tell you that because they've been horrible. And when they tried to bring Charles Barkley and Gail King as a replacement for him, that was a joke. I might have issue with some of his takes and his stances, but he was a far better journalist than what they did. Because he didn't want to do it because he felt he outgrown it. And a lot of times cats are ashamed because that pays the bills, but they want to be seen as something else. And I've seen his corny movies, by the way, Ted. I watch movies at 2 or 3 in the morning and YouTube. And they got a Jaleel White movie or two, which you have never seen. Probably about him and his family and the dogs and the cats and the birds, and his crew watched it. It was corny. But he made some whack movies. Tubi, the Tubi style. That's the catchphrase in the streets. Oh yeah, yeah. You know about Tubi movies. he's a Tubi. He's a Tubi actor. Oh yeah. That's why I don't. That's why I'm. Yeah. That's why I do what I do. No doubt. I'm not bought and paid for. And I be watching a lot of these folks. I seen they stuff. Without necessarily being in a circle, but I seen they stuff. Yeah, you'll see some. You look up Jalea White. It's some corny movie he was in, and he didn't. I mean, when you ask me about him, he don't even have a D.L. Hewley career as far as an actor. I mean, it's like low budget. It's like we try to put you because I think what was it Cal from Keenan and Cal? No, that's a true story. You a Tubi star. That's true. You a Tubi because cats be bragging about that now. That's the thing. I seen some cats on YouTube talking about I got Tubi movies out. I'm like, wow. I'm like Scooby Doo. You getting excited? You a Tubi star? You a Tubi star? That's what Vivica Fox would have been headed to now. But he yeah, he just didn't have no personality, yo. He was corny, and he had to get the red suspenders and the glasses on. Who's gonna sit and go to the movies and watch him? I like Tubi too, but if you're a Tubi star, that means anybody will take you in. Will make anybody get a movie. It's like Oprah giving out a car. You get a movie, you get a movie, you get a movie. Yeah, I mean, you gotta have some personality. I don't care how much shuffling and you do. If you ain't got no personality, they're not gonna waste their time. Yeah. Except the difference is back in the day, that was embarrassing. Today, because of streaming, everybody gets a so nobody really knows how whack you are, even though we do know how whack you are. We know how whack you are, but that's the difference. Blu-ray, straight to video back in the day. Cause you go in there and mhm, that's where it's at. You getting it? You getting it? I never even do a video about Tubi. I haven't even done a video about that because I don't, because that's too easy. But I do it on this live stream because we talking about it. But yeah, I hear some cats talking about they got the Tubi. Really? Because you get in the bag because you're doing video. That's where the money's at. But anybody can almost do it. You know, I'm sure Marion and Neo probably make a movie and they go straight Tubi. Don't be surprised if somebody you remember be on that Tubi lane. I bet you them turkeys that were in that house party movie that LeBron produced, they gonna be a Tubi, two-piece Tubi. Because you nobody knows that was it the White Man Can't Jump reboot? They gonna be Tubyville. That's Tubi land right there. It's too easy. Mm. They do. You picked up on that too. Somebody did that too. They was talking about that. I'm gonna have to do me a Tubi video. But yeah, cats be bragging about being on Tubi. I'm like, that ain't nothing to get excited about. That just means that that's the new way of saying that your butt's going to direct a video because you will never see a box office and you're not going to get on Max or you're not going to get on Showtime. You ain't going to get on no, yeah, that's all that means. You're not Netflix. You Tubi Flix. That's what's up. I got good humor though because I can laugh about it. I see people be trying real hard, crack me up. I forgot who it was though. Somebody recently talking about, yeah, I got a Tubi movies coming out. I was like, okay, yep. Well, he had Warner Brothers money behind him, but he put out another House Party 8 and do another some corny. It'll be on Tubi. They be hitting the Tubi. Cats do be bragging about it though. They act like they making some motion. They like they something. I'm like, it ain't hard to get on there. It's hard to get out of there though. Because if you're Tubi Platinum, that means that they will never put you on a regular. You know. But it's different now. Stuff people used to be embarrassed about is acceptable now. I find that out. You know. But there is money on the movie game. So, but anyway, that's my take about Jaleel White. That's what happened. He didn't have the personality, and Alfonso Roberto was good on TV because he did In the House with LL. He played the buddy sidekick role. Dancing with Stars, America's Got singing show. Yeah, Tubi got some stuff now. Before you laugh and snicker, they got classics in there. It's just that cats that are talking about making movies and stuff like some of the old school rapper people talking about they got Tubi deals. There's money in it because of course there's money to stream and all that. But you're not gonna ever get played in no theater and you ain't gonna get played in no they ain't gonna Netflix ain't gonna break their neck to put no money in. But that's what I'm talking about. I'm trying to translate that in English. But you can get on. Everybody got a chance to get, you know. But yeah, I've heard some people brag about Tubi. I be cracking up like, okay. Or you can do like 50 Cent, who's got all those same old regurgitated black gangs, gangster street type of flicks that he's selling to, and he gets, you know, and he did have that one show that was good on ABC, but most of his is still pretty much, you know, that's where the project's at. That's why cats are making the money though. They're making the money in the movie though. That's where it's at. You talking about Oscar Mayer Wiener? You talking about that Oscar Mayer hot dog? Because if that's what it was, yeah, I give you that. I give you that. A hot dog, yeah. Yeah. Nobody waste their time with that mess. He tried real hard though. That's not saying much, but I take Blue Chips as Shaq's best movie though. Blue Chips was good. Him and Penny. Okay. I forgot who y'all playing again because I ain't checked my thing. I'm gonna do the highlight reel because I gotta go in a little bit. Yeah, that's gonna be a battle. That's a battle. And don't laugh, but maybe in a few years that could be a Super Bowl preview. CJ versus Jordan Love could be, don't laugh. Yeah, I'm saying because they could be the future quarterbacks. I mean, I'm saying, you know, one of these days Mahomes get okay. Detroit's a better team. I'm not surprised. And Dan Campbell got them playing out their heads now. So, cause Sam Darnold reality is gonna come and hit. You know, Detroit is good though. I they might I think they could come out the NFC. I really do. I think they're that good. They should have beat Frisco in the NFC Championship game. I think they're that good. Yeah, and they scary too because the thing about it is they can beat you. Their line ain't no joke. And when I watched that game last year against Kansas City, that first game, I thought that was gonna be the Super Bowl. I thought that week one was the Super Bowl. Yeah, I mean I'm talking about last year's one. I think they. The only problem is that they get cutesy sometimes, so that might come back to bite them in the butt. That's the only knock against them. But when they're playing, straight up, oh yeah, they're a problem. They're a problem. They feisty. You know, he's poised. That's the word I would use. He didn't look that way with Sean McVay. He's poised. You would think Dan Campbell was an offensive coach guru because he is poised. He don't get phased at all. That's the scary part about Jared Goff's game now. Unlike when he had to play the Statue of Liberty role against the Patriots, when he sat there and took them unnecessary sacks, and he looked lost and getting hit, he ain't that kid no more. He's poised. They're the best team in the NFC. Brady says all in the NFL. I'm gonna say the NFC for sure. I'll see what happens as it plays itself out, but it's gonna be hard to beat. I'm telling you now. Spanking Dallas ain't the reason why I'm saying that, because spanking Dallas ain't no big deal. But it's the way that they can utilize their weaponry. Dan Campbell's got them believing. And like I said, if they didn't play cute last year and finished like they supposed to, they've been in the Super Bowl. They should have beaten Frisco. So that one has to sting because they blew that one. Kansas City more than the Ravens because the Ravens really wouldn't need much to use him, but Mahomes needs another option at receiver. That would fit them better. I don't think the Ravens are so much. The Ravens gonna need something on the defensive side. They straight on the offensive side. It's their defense that might need a little tweak. But for Kansas City, that would be the move. Either get Cup, I'd say Cup, or Kamara would be the one. But I'd say Cup would be sick. So been great so far today. Got the likes and the polls are coming and viewers up. So it's been great today. I think I'm gonna do this again on Sunday. I do have to make some. I do have to go and do something. Maybe I might be tempted tomorrow. It depends on how I feel. I don't know if he's on the mid. I won't know it to the postseason. I can't go by what I'm seeing. Uh, Let me answer this question the best way I can. Jared Goff's on a mission. I can't say Lamar is. I can say Jared Goff is though. I can't quite say about Lamar. I got to see what they do the rest of the way. They always play great in the season. I just want to see what they do in the postseason. I want to see if they're going to do the necessary. We covered a lot of stuff today. This has been one of the best lives. Appreciate you because that way there was nothing left off the table, pun intended. Yeah, we covered a lot. And that sweet potato pie was true. It's a fact. Definitely. I definitely enjoyed it. If I'm not busy tomorrow, I might come through tomorrow because it's been so good. I might. That's question mark. Don't hold me to it. But I knew I was coming back this weekend. I definitely like the weekend routine, especially Sunday. This was great. This jumped off. Been fantastic. Appreciate everybody coming through. It's been great. I should have a few more minutes because I've been on almost 3 hours. Yeah, yeah. I appreciate it because it's been strong. Appreciate everybody coming through. It's been strong. Did good with the poll. I think that the more variety of topics, I think that is always important. And I think that, yeah, we'll be talking about the cookout thing. That's cool. Any new topics you want to throw in, I welcome that. It makes you, and then of course, talking about Jalea White, in the industry, why somebody's careers don't jump off, why they do. But sometimes it's just people be bland and boring. That's all. Sometimes it's just that simple. They just don't have what it takes. And it's not about, you know, cheeks for checks or booty for the looted. They just don't have no personality. That's the thing. Sometimes you don't. But the WNBA thing is because they're not. They don't really. It wasn't invited by me. Listen, I watched his movies, but I never felt no spirit to him. Never did. I just thought he was an actor who was a leading man, but I didn't see anything. I wasn't like because he never spoke about nothing. So I don't know who did. I've never met anyone who did. I know some people who liked him in some of his roles, but I ain't know. I don't. I mean, I know one chick that was like big about him, but I never really, didn't pay him no mind. I like that. When I talk about my favorite actors, he doesn't even enter the conversation. And he asked me about Lethal Weapon. He wasn't touching Danny Glover. Glover got crazy range. I take Danny Glover and Joe Pesci over him, and he would be considered a better actor than Pesci because Pesci's more of a bit player who plays some strong co-roles. But I move more by Pesci than Mel Gibson. Yeah, I remember Jane Elliott. She was intelligent, intellectual, and deep until she got asked about reparations, and then she froze. I remember. If you believe in just justice and balance, heads to certain things you say, but then when we ask you about reparations, that's what we're gonna find out what you about. We're gonna ask you to talk about the issues, and we're gonna find out what you rolling with. I know why people are always looking. Yeah, people are always looking for someone to co-sign any acceptance. That's the sad reality. And when they don't, then you got this look on your face like I thought that you were. I thought you thought what? Ain't nobody said nobody gonna cut you no check. Ain't nobody said that we understand that we have kinfolk with the same last names and with trace, but no one is gonna. Ain't nobody do all that. Uh-uh. So that's what's up with that. But I'm not even sweating it though. No, because they weren't trying to appeal that way. They were talking around. So, for instance, if we talk racially, we can talk about history, we can talk about civil rights, we can talk about that. And if we talk around the circle and institutionalized systematic, we talking about the problems, right? But when we start talking about the financial rewards, we start talking about Wall Street, we start talking about stocks and bonds, and they'll buy the coin, and we start talking about Silicon Valley, we start talking about saving bonds, we start talking about IRA, we start talking about how these banks built their fortunes, and we start talking about the financial rewards. That's when you get silence because they're not going to tell you that how the financial gap and well, he isn't going to talk real talk. So if you're expecting him to say, "Oh, I understand what you went through," or it's like Mitch McConnell. Mitch McConnell got asked about he called Trump an idiot and ego and all that about what happened in 2021, January 6th. But ask him is he gonna support him now? Yeah, he don't say what he says privately. See, privately and generally are two different things. Yeah, because they don't want to talk about having to share the money. That's the bottom line. Everything is cool as long as we don't have to share. That's the lesson. That's why they're so divided. Ain't never been told that you have to share the money. So anyway, on that note, I'm gonna call it a night because I've been on for a minute. I gotta make a long distance call and I gotta take care of some business. But he didn't give him no wake up call. Obama been got woke up. What you mean? Obama got woke up by Trump with the birther. What you mean? Only thing Mitch did was that they vetoed his actions. Obama got woke up by dealing with the birther issue. Obama got dealt with by certain things Mitch Romney was saying. Mitch was just a stamp that they used to put a seal over it. It was already there. Mitch didn't give him no wake up call. Everybody that's in a position, they all get talked down. Yeah, because he's trying to he's trying to sell his agenda. These are his proteges. Biden is his protege. Kamala is his protege. And he's like, well, why don't you do this? Because the problem that he runs into is that he's such a dynamic orator and he's such a dynamic, cool, charismatic dude. They don't have that. Sleepy Joe was all tough and guts, and but he has no personality. Kamala got the good hair, the wheel of fortune of identity doesn't translate. It don't hit. Michelle Obama, we wouldn't be having this discussion. See, Obama got what they don't got. You gotta have some career. It's like Jalea White. You ask me why some careers don't. It's just like an athlete that sells jerseys if they're good, great, what have you. Yeah. And she looks well. She's, but she don't have no personality. That's what works against her with a lot of folk. She talk double talk, which they all do, but she doesn't really, you don't feel the soul there. That's the problem. It don't matter what she is. If she's claiming whatever she is, first of all, this is the one drop rule. Everybody got that. If you got that kind of image, you got that. She's got a drop in her. The problem with her, I'm not even gonna get into about what she is or she ain't. It's her politics that works against her. She don't connect her words together. She got no soul. That's the problem. I'm gonna tell you like this. I believe she's got her ancestry in her, but that's not what's working against her. That's a distraction. That's trying to take you off the road. Do you believe her as a person? Do you gel with her as a person? That's the problem that she running. And she doesn't have any. She don't. It don't really hit. That's the problem. I think if there's a knock against her, it's because it just doesn't feel authentic. So people can think what they want. I think that's the main knock. Because you can sit there all day and say, well, are you, aren't you, are you, aren't you? And if anybody's going to say that they got something in them, I'm not going to knock and say she don't. Well, because black folks come in all different shapes, sizes, colors all over the world. That's not for discussion. I think her problem being authentic is in her presentation as a person. I just don't think it comes across. But I would rather I'm going to say this again. I don't have a dog in the race because I don't like neither one of them. I'm with the reparations. But I can't stand Trump, though. I'll let that be known. Yeah, he'll get there. And that's the usual format with Undertaker. That's not a surprise. Believe me, if Vince McMahon wasn't so-called almost canceled and people didn't want to do that, Vince would interview him because they two peas of the same pie, and they both know a lot of the same circles. And I would imagine that Joe Rogan would be the MC of it with Howard Stern on standby. That's my personal unload. Yes, yes, yes. If you know about those characters, you know. And somewhere along the line, if he was still alive, well, both of them were still alive. If Diane Imus and Rush Limbaugh were still alive, they would be sitting at that table too. And you could get that other guy, Bill O'Reilly, Mr. Hip Hop Quotations himself. He'd be there too. See, I can put all these people in the same circle. That's all I got to say about that. That's what you got. You got one person that identity issues or not, you just don't feel. Then you got the other person. He always is with the what he denies, and then so who you gonna believe? Yeah, well, that's how it's always been. That's the industry. That's what they've always done. Or you got to be stiff and boring, and you have to conform to some political agenda. I mean, take your pick. So yeah, that's how I look at it. So I'm not gonna waste my time with that mess, though. I mean, I see Judge Joe Brown. He goes in defending him because he was an entertainer. Vince was an entertainer. Vince learned P.T. Barnum and P.T. Barnum and Bailey. It's a show. It's a circus. You learn that. He learned Hugh Hefner. You gotta watch how all these people are all the same. That's why someone like Orlando Brown would probably say Vince McMahon is Donald Trump. You see, if you say one to another, to another, to another. And then you tie it to Larry Flint, and then you tie it to Hugh Hefner, and then you, well, I think Joe was trying to get that, but you know, I've watched them both. They crack me up. She's not gonna answer that because the Willie Brown situation. That's how she got in through the door. Joe know it, but sometimes with Judge Joe, he be, sometimes it come across like he be, I'm like, did she turn you down? Did she turn you down? Yeah, no. I know about her and Willie Brown. 'Cause I was on the West Coast. I remember Willie Brown. I used to follow that in Frisco, and I remember that. Willie Brown, an old school player, but I don't know. Stuff was kind of, I don't know. But you know, Joe be trying to. Joe, she looks like he said he didn't not her type, but he was married to she married to, was it Frida Payne? Yeah, yeah. Joe got turned down. That's what it is. And I can't take him too seriously anyway, because I watch him with the real Dana. Sometimes I watch his promo ads, and he's got that barbecue sauce. And who's in that commercial going, "Yeah, I love your barbecue sauce"? Tiffany Haddish. So if you watch, I watch his show with Dana. I like Dana, when she lets him talk and they talk. But who's in that barbecue ad with him? Tiffany Haddish. So if I look at Joe a little sideways, look at some of the company he keep. You know how Tiffany Haddish turned out. But I like it when he's talking, you know. Like I saw him on virtual hip hop and all that. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I say to myself, so okay, Lee, you be deep in deep points, but how serious I'm gonna take you when you got her up there? And I do believe Tiffany is smarter than she portrays sometimes to be. She has some truth to her, but I've always looked at her like a female version of Kevin Hart. And I run from watching their movies. I've watched them, but I don't. It's not by choice. He was on the grill in the pit. So if you ever watched Tim and Dana, it comes on the advertisement because they got a little commercial. And he said, "Oh, that chicken show is good," and she says that, and she's next to him in the. They have the advent commercial. It's on the. If you ever watch his show with Dana, they be on together. It's in the advertisement. It's a commercial. Judge Joe's barbecue sauce. He country, and he be cracking me up, and he got some stuff that I like that he says, but I kind of cringe with him and her though. I just, no, he don't have it. He is on the grill, but it's just the way, you know, you know. So he had me rolling about what he said about Tina Turner being a pimp and how Tina was pimping and all that. I believe him on that. He know about certain, there's things, and of course with the law and all that, and how he broke down the OJ case. He broke that down to a science, and he talked about Diddy too. I watched his comments about, but all that Trump love he be doing, all that Trump love, I'm like, I don't know about all that. I don't know about all that. Not all of it. Not all. I'm not buying all that. Mm-mm. But I think all those folks is connected to Diddy, and I think it's all connected though. So, but anyway, I'll watch him. He said some good comments. He said things I did, you know. So anyway, yeah. Well, if you watched the trial, if you remember, where you were with me at the time, Faye Resnick and all that was in. There's a lot going on, and Caitlyn and Jenna, Chris Jenner, all that. There's a lot more going on. They were party girls. So there's a lot going on. A lot. And the media is somehow trying to paint it as one side because they, there's a lot going on. So yeah, he when he from a legality perspective, when he does the law part, I be watching. I like that. When he's sticking to the factual. He talked about Dr. King and James Earl Ray and, talked about black movies in the 70s, certain things he said I agree with, some I didn't, but he got got some, you know, he give you some, but Reggie Wright Jr. can't stand him. If you ever get a chance on Bound First, Reggie dissed him bad. He dissed him bad, but because just Joe sounds like a cat that has opinions about certain things, and people ain't gonna always appreciate it. Some things I don't, but I don't. I respect his game. I mean, I understand him on TV. I get it. Some of it is to be taken serious. Some of it is lighthearted. Some of it's but you know, it was a game, and he parlayed a career into TV. So that ain't no joke. That ain't no joke. So some people got a problem with some don't. Anyways, about my time to roll. I've been on for 3 hours. We've been talking a long time. Appreciate everybody coming through. I might come tomorrow, so if you see me tomorrow, don't be shocked. But it won't be for as long. If I get inspired, I'll come back. If I do, because I got a lot of stuff to do. Appreciate everybody coming through. Thank you immensely. Go watch some of these games, and appreciate the comments, the thoughts. Carry it over, share it. We watch this video live. Bring people on through, because it was definitely all the way live. It was definitely a great time had by this day. So appreciate you, and stay safe, stay blessed, stay whole, stay real. I got more videos coming through. Keep hitting the membership subscription. Donate everything. Stay up. I'm out one time. Peace and the best.